What's up, everybody? How you doing? Lord PeteyTV here to give you another Mythic Pluses and where to find them for Season 3, Week 1. This is amazing. I'm so happy. We got another season here. But I wanted to make sure I told you all about these dungeon affixes, what we're going to expect from them. The dungeons, we're going to do a quick overview from the knowledge that I know from the past. And we'll end up going into that stuff, but the we'll start going into a better deep dive after I get a full day of instances on Wednesday. So, first thing I'm going to say, make sure you hit that subscribe button here. Follow us on Twitch. Make sure you're checking us out every single day when things come out. I greatly appreciate it. I know many other people appreciate it too. So, this is the Mythic Pluses affixes which we have and where to find them and what we're going to do with them. So, this week one, we're going to have Fortified, Incorporeal, and Sanguine. So, Fortified meaning non-boss enemies have more health and they're going to deal a little bit more damage. We have Incorporeal, which means, we're going to have that guy, that ghostly form that spawns every so often. So we're going to have to, CC him, or we're going to have to end up, CCing him, or we're going to have to end up, mind controlling or something along those lines. And then we have our Sanguine, which is actually getting a little reworked. From my understanding is that the pool is going to drop and actually group together with another form, so it should be a little bit easier to work with than before. So that's pretty much the affixes we're kind of going through now. What I find kind of interesting about this is that this first week is going to be a little bit of an easier week. And you're probably saying to yourself, why are you thinking this is going to be an easier week? Oh my god. It's a nice week to kind of start with because the mobs that are hitting harder, you can kind of work with a little bit easier. So you don't have to try to push the timers crazy amounts. You're just looking to time things and get things done. So you're going to end up, the tanks are going to end up pulling very cautiously anyway. So you're going to have that. The bosses are probably going to die pretty quick because you're probably going to start with the lower levels. And then from there, your Sanguine is going to be very easy to deal with because, that's a 14, like a 14 dungeon. So the likelihood of you even going into 14s might be a little lower than average. Now, once again, when we're talking about dungeons here, we're always talking about stuff that's going to be around 20, 20, 21. We don't go crazy high in those types of dungeon fields, but, it's something to think of. Now, so we're just going to do a quick rundown of the dungeons. So, Everbloom is going to be a little bit of a harder dungeon, and I'm going to say that is because there's a lot more mobs in there, which you're going to have to deal with a lot more of the Fortified and a lot more of the Sanguine that's going to be falling. So that's going to be kind of annoying to deal with. So you got to be careful there. Throne of the Tides. I mean, it's not too bad because the groupings of the mobs aren't too large. So I don't see that as an issue. Bosses might not be too bad. That might actually be the easier of the dungeons that I can think of right now. Um, yeah, I think that probably won't be too bad. Blackrock Hold is going to be heavy for AoE. There's a lot of mobs there. There's going to be a lot of damage being thrown around. Your tanks really need to be on point. Your healers really need to be on point for Blackrock Hold. Waycrest Manor. There's a lot of large groupings of mobs down each hallway. So depending upon how your tanks pull, it's going to be a little bit. And then on top of that, when you go into the basement, you have a lot of very larger pulls there too. So you just got to be careful and aware of those. Um, Darkheart Thicket, the pulls there aren't too big, but you can make them big to make it up time, which I think will be pretty good. Uh, but as long as you're being aware of your scenarios and where you're pulling, you should be okay there. Toltazar, the packs that you pull there's a couple of groupings of mobs which I remember hit pretty hard. Excuse me. Just didn't keep me up like usual. But there's a bunch of groupings of mobs there that I remember hit pretty hard. So be very, very careful of that. Um, and the Mythic Pluses, people might also feel more confident with that because they've had it before. So it'll be a little interesting to see that. Dawn of Infinites, you're going to have part one and part two. So part one, I don't think is going to be that bad. I think that there are a handful of groupings of mobs, which I think you'll be able to fly through. So that I don't think will be too bad. The end half of group of the part two, I think is actually a little harder. The reason why I kind of say that is because the the second part you're gonna have to deal with Morchi, which nobody really likes. You got to deal with that running speed boost thing, which people don't care for. And then you have your that last boss, which people still don't understand how to deal with the orbs. So it's going to be a little harder to deal with there. So people just got to be aware of it. But other than that, it shouldn't be too difficult. It's just one of those things that you have to take time and go in. So just kind of to go over, a bunch of these are 30-minute dungeons. Some of them are 36, some is 34, some are 35. So it's kind of all over the place. But the thing you kind of want to know is that they these dungeons can go one way or another. They can be super fast or they can be super slow based on how your tank pulls on week one and how fast your tank pulls on week one, how much DPS you got coming in, and how your healer is able to handle random damage because they're not aware of. So when you're kind of going into these dungeons, please take your time and use this week kind of as a learning experience for what you want to do as your stepping stones forward. You're going to have a lot of people out there who are just going to start power running and power pushing because they want KSH on week one. You don't need KSH on week one. If you get KSM, good for you, but you're probably doing 17s, 18s, and 19s. Many people are not going to have that much gear for that, and I don't think it's worth the headache to push that far. Make sure you are taking your time to learn the dungeons because these are the stepping stones you're going to need for the future. So, in saying that, thank you so much for hanging out, and I greatly appreciate it for you guys to listen to what our Mythic Plus and what we have to look for. As always, Lord PeteyTV is here. Make sure you hit subscribe here if you're looking to promote the channel. If you're looking to support the channel, I should say, make sure you end up checking out our merch store. Make sure you subscribe to us on Twitch. Make sure you're watching these videos. Make sure you hit subscribe here. Go to Twitch, subscribe to, and we'll see you all soon. All right, love you all. Dream big, keep gaming. Have a fantastic rest of your week. I love you. Thanks. Bye, everybody.